this session has been one of the worst. It's, there have been terrible monsoon sessions. This is, one of the worst in comparison to probably the only yardstick is 2015, 19%. We have never seen the government on the back foot. We've never seen a home minister who's always there in both houses of parliament, not being present, not ready to answer the questions as he comes every day, he or the Prime Minister to Parliament House, but not going, stepping more than 100 or 200 meters away from the office into the parliamentary chambers to answer the questions of the opposition. Don't say you're frustrated. It's your incompetence if you're frustrated. You have to be able to get things going. And you have to be able to tell your Prime Minister and Home Minister, we need the opposition to be present there.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Finally, the monsoon session got over today. With the final day, the appearance of Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah coming to the Lok Sabha. In fact, the opposition took a dig saying that this was out of fear that they came to the Lok Sabha, but as soon as they entered the House, Speaker chose to adjourn it sine die. But after the session was over, we saw a press conference by Kiran Rijiju, who accused the Congress of repeatedly disrupting the parliament during the monsoon session, while several India Bloc parties boycotted the customary tea party, which was hosted by the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. Now, while Kiran Rijiju was addressing the press conference, he said that for the first time, we have seen the opposition running away from the debate in parliament when the government wanted the discussions. Congress is solely responsible for unfairly disrupting the proceedings. And Rijiju said that 12 bills were passed during the monsoon session, but only one was discussed in both houses. In fact, if you look at what Congress MP Priyanka Vadra said, she said, and I'm quoting her, that neither the Prime Minister nor the Home Minister came to the House. How will democracy and parliament function? And today, they have just come to sing Vande Mataram. They have come after the entire session has already taken place. Now, the session began on July 20th, and this was marked by repeated disruptions over the neat paper leak, alleged embezzlement of the Ram Temple donations, and police action against the protesting students. Now, the opposition also sought statements from the Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah. The government had offered a debate on the neat paper leak and related issues, along with a reply from Shah, but the Congress rejected the proposal, and a similar effort was seen yesterday as well. So when the session has ended, how do we look at the monsoon session, and is the going to be, and will the going be very tough now for the BJP, including all the BJP MPs who will go back to the constituencies? How will Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi manage the things? Because we saw Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi speaking in two different voices. While Prime Minister Modi was addressing the Gen Z by calling them friends, by recording the Instagram reels, Amit Shah persisted with a tough action, filing FIRs, then maligning the image of the alleged maligning of the image of all the teenagers whom we saw. They faced a severe backlash. So what will happen now? Will BJP go back to the drawing board? Will they have to rethink totally as to how they will have to do their politics now? Because with the Ram Temple donation, the theft issue coming to the fore, will the Hindutva work? That is question number one. Will they go back to their communal politics? That is another question. If not, how will they, what are the new agendas they will bring in? And if they will reconnect with the Gen Z, is the Gen Z going to believe Modi and Shah. So it's going to be a huge crisis. All these points we're going to discuss. Joining me this evening is Sunil Prabhu, senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much, Sunil, for joining, and lovely to have you again back on HW News. And since the Parliament session has ended today, and we saw a press conference held by Parliamentary Affairs Minister, where he chose to say that I'm very frustrated, Congress did not cooperate, and therefore there were so many disruptions. But nowhere was he asked, and neither did he choose to answer that it was the government's job to see that the House functions.
Absolutely. I think you've answered that very effectively because truly the government of the day has to function, get Parliament to function. That's why they convene. It is the President of India who convenes, Parliament, and it is done after the Cabinet passes a resolution requesting the President to do so. The Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs meets and discusses this entire decision and asks the President to convene, and that is why they have a government business, government agenda, their private members, their other bills, and then of course, the opposition says, we would like to raise certain issues and everything else. This session has been one of the worst. There have been terrible monsoon sessions. This is, one of the worst in comparison to probably the only yardstick is 2015, 19%. But there have been earlier cases where, for example, you can talk about when there was the Pegasus issue.
Also, Sunil, sorry to interrupt you, but also was this one of the worst Parliament sessions for the BJP and one of the best, in fact, for the opposition?
Well, for the first time, we saw a minister resign. There has never been a casualty of a minister in a Parliament session. Here we saw for the first time no less than the Prime Minister trying to reconnect with that new younger generation, which is now popularly known as Gen Z, taking onto Instagram and saying that you passed legislation in record time, you pass a bill relating to tougher laws to deal with the fact that the paper leaks will be dealt with and there will be action. So it's in that backdrop that we saw a minister resign. So it is in that sense we have never seen the government on the back foot. We have never seen a home minister who's always there in both houses of Parliament not being present, not ready to answer the questions as he comes every day, he or the Prime Minister to Parliament House, but not going, stepping more than 100 or 200 meters away from the office into the parliamentary chambers to answer the questions of the opposition on who authorized, the attack on the students. And as Rahul Gandhi put it out in an article saying that is it pure incompetence or was it deliberate? And it's in that backdrop, I think they realized, and we saw no less than the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha asking the government to have the presence of Mr. Amit Shah to be present to answer the queries. And it's in that context that the final day, when it was clear that Parliament has become a casualty, that there wasn't going to be a discussion. They tried to change the narrative to talk about Jharkhand, where the Congress is in a coalition. And as Rahul Gandhi himself said, my view on the Jharkhand is very clear. Wherever there is a violence, we are opposed to it. So let's not have any compromise. It's not that we haven't spoken. We are not running away from anything. We are very clear and really berating the mainstream media for not asking the right questions, not having the courage and the strength to ask the Home Minister of the day. After all, we are the fourth pillar and we have to be able to have the courage and conviction to ask legitimate questions which haven't been answered by the Delhi police till today. We haven't seen any kind of explanation on what prompted them to be underprepared and to deal with the students in the manner in which they did. So a lot of questions, a lot of back foot. Ultimate casualty is parliamentary democracy. There has been really no bonhomie between the government and the opposition. It's, as I said at the outset, it's the job of the government of the day to run Parliament. You convene Parliament for it to be run. Don't say you're frustrated. It's your incompetence if you're frustrated. You have to be able to get things going. And you have to be able to tell your Prime Minister and Home Minister, we need the opposition to be present there.
No,
If they're
but in
talking
your
about
wisdom,
these
Sunil, since Kiran Rijiju very sharply pointed out that it was Congress which was responsible for the disruption, but you've been covering Parliament for decades. What, in your wisdom, who would be responsible if I were to ask you that who disrupted the House? Was it the government or was it the opposition?
well, both. To be fair to both sides, each one is responsible for whatever they do. The opposition isn't going to keep quiet and play, ball with the government of the day if they're not going to get any answers, and they're going to carry on with their government business and not have a discussion on the floor of the house on very emotive issues which are hurting the people. One, for example, the construction of the Ram temple. It is a government decision to build the Ram temple. If money has been pilfered during the construction and after that, and you haven't really done any action, not a statement on the floor of the house, then I think nobody's going to keep quiet. For them, it's an issue not only so much about Uttar Pradesh, but it's about the sentiments of cutting across millions of this country, be it Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, or Christians, or any denomination. Everybody wants to know that after all, public money was given. Why has it been taken away? I mean, mere resignations don't answer, and you can't. The example is being given of the students' protests. That was a side issue. The real issue was that they needed to have a discussion on the Ram temple. And as I've been saying, Parliament today hasn't still discussed the exchange of status quo in Ladakh when there was a Galwan incident. We have now we have eyeball to eyeball over 60,000 troops on that plateau region in the Ladakh period, when we haven't had any skirmish as of now, but we haven't had any discussion on the floor of the house that lakhs of kilometers were taken away. What exactly is the position of the government of India? I don't remember, Neelu, ever, even in 1962, when China and India had the 1962 battle, there was a discussion on the floor of the house. Today, when history is written later on, there will be this thing that Parliament never discussed these issues, never discussed Pegasus, never discussed any emotive issue, the Gen Z protest. No discussion on the floor of the House. You'll hear semblance of it, but was there a statement from the government? No. Has there been a statement from the defense minister on China's ingress into our territory? No. Has there been a statement on Ram Temple? No. And the list is innumerable. Clearly, the government also must realize it can't be just passing legislation without and steamrolling it. There has to be a semblance of governance. There has to be a proper discussion. Why is it important? As we've been hearing, for example, the important bills of mines and minerals, which has a centralization of power, or for that matter, this time that was passed, the tribunals, important legislations where everything is taken control of. You can't pass it without a discussion. And that's, I think, the biggest casualty. And for the government, they have to understand that this is completely, a way of getting those steamrolling things has to be done by taking the opposition into control. It's not that Parliament cannot function. They did pass, as you saw, legislation relating to the students, in particular, bills relating to paper leakage and everything else. That was because they understood the writing was on the wall. You have to also understand that the writing of the wall is that people have elected you to discuss on the floor of the House.
But Sunil, in earlier times, Parliament was, emblematic of the Speaker in Lok Sabha and the Chairman in Rajya Sabha. Now it seems, and to be very candid, Parliament, it seems, is all about Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah. They are the ones who decide the protocols. They are the ones who decide the guidelines. They are the ones who will decide, even if Amit Shah chose to speak after a long spell of silence. He had not spoken since the police crackdown, which happened on 20th July. Yesterday, he chose to speak to ANI and PTI, saying, "Arey ye bhagauda aur lapata jaise शब्द क्यों इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं?" Now, and he himself is the one to transgress those lines, use that kind of a language. So, would you say that did you see Amit Shah totally on the back foot? He actually looked speechless. He looked as if he was scared.
Absolutely. I mean, you've never seen him. He's the one who always says chronology samjhe, and he's the one
Yes.
who's always ready to respond. Till today, we haven't got an answer for him. What prompted the Delhi police to do what they did? The initial response, there was no firing. Then, when it was pointed out and
Rather,
shown from the medical
Sunil,
records that there have been pellets, so you
Sunil,
haven't been
rather,
able to get this.
yeah, no, I'm saying that rather it was a cavalier disdain of the chronology which Amit Shah indulged into.
Absolutely, it was he and you could make out that he was not comfortable making that statement. It was not something that it was coming from within. It's not his natural self. He was forced to make the statement to basically try to ensure that course correction has been done, that government was not running away. We are ready to discuss on the
Yeah.
last day till 11, 12 o'clock when you want. By then, the opposition had said enough is enough. Yeah, for the last 20 days, you haven't bothered. You're taking us for granted. Who's wanting to now suddenly, as Rahul Gandhi said, the gas is gone. You are now trying to do a refill. It's not possible. You can't start, deciding how you'll do the narrative when people realize and everybody,
No, but would you call this?
people are not fools.
But Sunil, this attitude, wouldn't you call this hubris? Wouldn't you call this an ego? Which is engulfing Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi. That despite so much of crisis all around and the questions being asked, they still believe, in having sitting on a high horse and saying that, look, I'm the one who's dictating things. The way Amit Shah spoke yesterday, and also the way Prime Minister addressed the Gen Z, हमने माफ किया, हमने माफ कर दिया.
And Neelu, to answer that, the answer itself is in the kind of comments that have come back
Yeah.
on Prime Minister's Instagram reels. It's just not helped the Gen Z at all. They want performance. They're not ready to accept the Prime Minister's talking down, condescending to them at all. This is unacceptable for them. This is something that is not the way they would like to look at things at all. Having said that, let's see how, for that matter, Amit Shah, they have never been, they have been controlling the media, the narrative for the longest possible time, and they have been winning election after election. So and please remember, as the electoral bonds showed you, 95% of the money is with the BJP. When you control the complete money, how are you going to, still not be able to change the narrative? That's something that's hitting them. And they will definitely introspect. They will definitely look at how things play out in terms of the cabinet reshuffle. They will need to make those adjustments. People from within their own Sangh Parivar are not happy. They understand somewhere down the line they haven't handled this well. Ultimately, we'll have to wait and see what they do in the next few months because this is going to be a critical period. We have elections in Punjab that are expected apart from other states. Uttar Pradesh is also up in their mind. And it's in that backdrop that everybody knows this is going to be a highly politicized and surcharged season, and course correction will have to be done. You can't have business as usual in the parliamentary system.
Right. I'm just wondering, Sunit, that now with the monsoon session over, I'm sure all the BJP MPs will go back to their constituencies. Prime Minister has to address on 15th of August from the ramparts of the Red Fort. I don't know what his speech is going to be, because Cockroach Janta Party and Abhijit Dipke had already handed over a list that, look, this is all what we want from the Prime Minister to speak on all these issues, whether it is the cost of living or education, all those issues. Uh, I don't know whether Prime Minister will be able to address, but more significantly and more importantly than that is that how sanitized environment now will it be at the Red Fort? Because Red Fort, all people come there, to attend the flag hoisting ceremony. And now with what we saw today in Parliament. That, remember that meme, 56 inch ka chota bandar, and today the entire India bloc, Pawan Khera flashing a black monkey and then saying 56 inch ka chota bandar aao sadan ke andar, and the entire India bloc was holding those stuffed toys, the monkey caricature. Uh, so, I mean, what I'm thinking is that, what if all these BJP leaders go back to their constituency and they have to face a similar situation? I'm not saying that they will have to, but what if they have to face a situation like this, and wherever they go, they are greeted with these monkey stuffed toys, or they are greeted with some Gen Z, raising questions. Like one clip I saw where Pushkar Singh Dhami was attending a function, and there was a young girl who spoke about how things have gone wrong, and how she couldn't make it for a competition just because of the financial constraints she had. And that became so embarrassing for Pushkar Singh Dhami. So, are BJP leaders, is there a probability that the BJP leaders are really going to face a tough time now, facing their own people who voted for them?
They will definitely face a tough time. There will definitely be a lot of questions. It might not be business as usual for them. They know that, and the Prime Minister himself has seen that and has actually asked BJP MPs to reconnect with the youngsters, to get onto Instagram, to reconnect with them. They need a new narrative. They need to get back to the drawing board, not only to find good people to deal with what the CJP is asking, cost of living. I mean, there's been a host of issues that are really troubling the government of the day. But don't expect anything in Red Fort, because that's a sanitized zone. There are only people who are earmarked who are permitted. Otherwise, they're not permitted at all. So there's not going to be anything spectacular there. But the fact of the matter is that you will definitely it will be interesting to see how the Prime Minister actually responds to what has happened. Usually it's prime ministerial, but from 2014 we have seen the Prime Minister not being the usual prime ministerial talk. What he does this time around will be critical and important. He has history on his side. He has definitely been very particular about what he wants to say. There have been occasions, for example, from the Red Fort, he has talked about the pluses about one farmer, one nation, the farm law bills, and then we saw within the next 6 to 8 months in that very same Red Fort, another flag being unfurled on the thing, which was completely shocking, and it was on our Republic Day when there was the farmers' protest. So history has to be kind to the government of the day. There have been instances which have never happened in previous regimes. I don't think after the British, where and for us, the Red Fort is symbolic. When we saw the protests on January 26th, and the fact that there were flags being unfurled by Sikh groups there, it was definitely a sad day and a sad reflection of our time. Till today, we haven't had a proper discussion on that farm laws and the things that took place after that. It was just repealed, and it was it was considered passed. There wasn't really any discussion. So we have had instances before, and hopefully Red Fort will keep that semblance and that sanctity, and hopefully the Prime Minister will make that start from the Independence Day to make that course correction, to practice what he preaches by reconnecting with the youngsters and the people and saying that, look here, I want to, there have been some things which have not done, and we need to relook at the entire affair. I think that will be prime ministerial, because when you are speaking as prime minister of the country, you're speaking to an entire nation, not to your constituents
Absolutely.
alone.
No, I'm sure his speechwriters must be burning the midnight oil, as to make the speech look more credible, because the entire scrutiny will be on his speech, what he's going to say. Gen Z is going to watch, the other BJP leaders are going to watch as to, what the prime minister will say. But coming back to the question on the Ram temple issue, now, for the Uttar Pradesh elections, they are not far behind. And how is BJP really going to come up with a narrative for Uttar Pradesh? Does it look very difficult with the Ram Temple Chanda Chori issue? Samajwadi Party has said that they will keep this issue alive. They will go door to door explaining as to what BJP has done, and plus, this entire narrative around PDA, which Samajwadi Party has started. Do you think that the going is going to be very tough for Yogi and at the central level for Prime Minister Modi, as far as UP is concerned?
It is definitely going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy for them. It's not going to be business as usual. Firstly, they have an anti-incumbency which they have to handle. We've already spoken earlier about the fact that there are tensions between Yogi Adityanath and the present BJP leadership, and there hasn't, the fact that there has to be some kind of course correction and some kind of narrative building in Uttar Pradesh is well known. There is also the fact that you have to look at the various caste factors. Right now, Yogi Adityanath is a Rajput. He has that backing of the entire grouping that is there. He's been able to, and he's been seen as the alternative to Prime Minister Modi in case there is a vacancy. So he's not somebody who can be marginalized as has been attempted. There have been a number of attempts to actually marginalize them. They have failed miserably. Because Yogi Adityanath has actually dug his heels. He's very firm on his position on certain matters. We've seen him in Parliament for many years. He was a 7-time MP, and it's not that he was the chosen one from the Gujarat Bureau. He was somebody who was actually put up before them. The real candidate was actually Manoj Sinha. It was Yogi Adityanath who was sprung up by the RSS to a great extent. So it's in that backdrop now that they will have to make that course correction. He's already started that SIT on the Chandni Chowk.
One change, Sunil, which I have seen, maybe you would have, I'm sure, noticed it, that since the time this Gen Z movement has started and the way the spotlight has come on Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah, Yogi has gone silent. Yogi is not giving, like he used to speak on national issues off and on, apart from the events which he normally attends on a daily basis. But largely he's quiet now. Do you sense some sort of a strain between this, troika of Modi, Amit Shah, and Yogi as well?
Not only strain, I think this is cutting across various leaders within the BJP leadership. That they have been talked down to. There is really no option in the system. Because they say in their system you have to just keep quiet and you have to just wait and watch and carry on. So I think, and that's the way the Sangh Parivar operates. So it's definitely going to be trying times. It's not going to be.
So you are saying it's a bigger crisis for the RSS, what they do in this kind of a scenario?
More importantly, because of the fact that there's been this Ram temple theft. And they are the ones who actually were in the forefront of the construction of the temple. And if you have, and as many people say, apne Bhagwan Ram ko bhi nahi choda hai. How are you going to respond to that? I think that's something that is really affecting them. That's the reason why we've even seen Parliament a casualty, because they don't really have an answer to that. And what are they going to convince? Because it's their own men. It's, you want to, allege X, Y, Z, but how could you have turned a blind eye? And you're saying that it was happening, and so we put CCTV to actually find out who was doing it. What were you doing for the fact that it started off and you kept quiet? And you were trying to find out who was behind it? I mean, come on. and look at the cost of acquisition of land and how things have been done.
No,
These are
so
all
from what
big
you were
questions.
explaining, Sunil, from what you were explaining, it looks like this entire political system, which is within BJP vis-a-vis RSS, does it look in tatters? Because if RSS's credibility has gone down the drains because of the Ram Temple issue, there's huge confusion now within BJP. So where does it leave the things as far as BJP and RSS are concerned? Because RSS is supposed to be the parent organization. They are supposed to be driving the BJP. Now, if RSS has lost its face, then what do we say of BJP?
Not only that, Neelu, I would add one more point. It's the economy
I'm
story.
reminded of I'm reminded of that Geoffrey Chaucer's line, in a poem Canterbury Tales, where they say that if the gold rusts, what shall iron do? So it's a similar case with the RSS and the BJP, it seems.
Yeah, and to add to that coinage is the fact that you have had no less than look at the economy. You've got jobless growth, even though you've had the Prime Minister's economic advisors say that there is no such thing as jobless growth. There are no jobs. It's the cost of living, inflation is extremely high. For people, why has ethanol become an emotive issue? Because of the fact that you are paying 100 rupees and odd plus for petrol, which is then diluted with ethanol. The machines of cars are getting affected, or your equipment is getting affected, and you are not reducing the cost. And more importantly, even agricultural economists are saying that you're diverting food stock for this, which was never the intention and the plan. So, I mean, if you have no jobs, if the inflation is really something that is a cause of concern, there is somewhere down the line a lot of homework that needs to be done. They really will need a magic wand to be able to assuage the feelings. But as you're well aware, it's the RSS and the entire stronghold of the Sangh Parivar, which has a big, huge sway in Uttar Pradesh. Even at the worst case in Delhi, you will still have that 32% vote, which will vote, come what may.
Right. All right, so tough times ahead, and let's see what happens. Monsoon session has ended. Now the MPs, the BJP MPs, will go back to their constituencies. What they will have to face, we'll have to wait and watch. Thank you so much, Sunil. Always a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.